Rebecca Middleton and the man with the mysterious past, two lives forever linked by a dark secret that shattered a peaceful town. What began as a simple disappearance quickly spiraled into a chilling mystery of obsession, betrayal, and a murder so cruel it would haunt the community forever. This is the story no one saw coming. Rebecca Middleton was an ordinary young woman living in a small, peaceful town where everyone knew each other. She worked at the local bookstore, a cozy little place nestled between the bakery and the coffee shop downtown. Rebecca loved her job, often spending extra hours arranging books and recommending novels to customers. She was known for her warm smile and quiet kindness. On the evening of October 12, 2025, she finished her shift as usual, waved goodbye to her co-workers, and stepped outside into the chilly air. The sun had just set, leaving the streets bathed in the soft glow of street lamps. Rebecca was walking the familiar path toward her apartment, a route she had taken countless times before without any trouble. That night, something felt different. The streets seemed emptier than usual, the usual distant sounds of laughter and conversation replaced by an unsettling silence. Rebecca pulled her jacket tighter around her, her footsteps echoing in the quiet as she passed darkened houses. She didn't see anyone around, and for the first time in a long while a wave of unease crept over her. Still, she kept moving forward, trying to shake off the strange feeling. Her phone was in her pocket, but she didn't check it. She told herself there was nothing to worry about. It was just a normal walk home. But Rebecca never arrived. When she failed to return that night, her family grew worried. They called her phone repeatedly, but it went straight to voicemail. The next morning, with no sign of Rebecca, her parents reported her missing. The local police launched an immediate investigation, treating the disappearance with urgency given her sudden and unexplained absence. Friends, neighbors, and volunteers joined the search, combing through parks, alleys, and nearby wooded areas. Flyers with her photo were posted on lampposts and in shops, and social media buzzed with hopes of finding her safe. Despite all efforts, there were no clear leads. No witness had seen her after she left the bookstore. No unusual activity was reported in the area. It was as if Rebecca had simply vanished into thin air. The town's initial optimism slowly turned to dread. The peaceful streets where everyone once felt safe now felt shadowed by fear and suspicion. Rumors started to circulate. Some whispered about a stranger seen lurking around town. Others suggested Rebecca might have run away. But none of these theories fit the facts. As days turned into weeks, the police grew frustrated with the lack of progress. They set up roadblocks, questioned hundreds of people, and scanned every inch of the town with dogs and drones. But nothing concrete emerged. The case became one of the biggest mysteries the community had ever faced. News crews arrived, turning the quiet town into a center of national attention. Everyone wanted answers, but the truth remained stubbornly out of reach. Rebecca's family refused to give up hope. They held vigils, distributed more flyers, and pleaded for anyone with information to come forward. But with each passing day, the chances of finding her alive seemed to slip away. The night she disappeared was replayed over and over in the minds of the townspeople. What had gone wrong? What hidden danger had she walked into on that seemingly ordinary evening? The peaceful life of Rebecca Middleton was shattered, and the questions about her fate hung heavy in the air, waiting to be answered. Weeks passed since Rebecca Middleton disappeared, and the town remained on edge. The initial search efforts had grown less hopeful, and the police investigation seemed to be hitting a dead end. People went about their daily lives, but an uneasy silence hung over the community. Then something unexpected happened that reignited the case and gave everyone a flicker of hope. A local hiker exploring a dense part of the nearby woods that few people visited spotted something unusual, tucked among thorny bushes partially. Hidden under fallen leaves was a small piece of fabric. At first it looked like just a scrap of old cloth, but when the hiker examined it more closely, the pattern and texture were familiar. It matched the material of Rebecca's favorite jacket. The discovery was reported to the police immediately. It was the first physical evidence anyone had found related to Rebecca's disappearance. The police organized a thorough search of the area where the fabric was found, focusing on the surrounding forest. The woods were thick and dark, with narrow trails winding between tall trees. As officers combed through the undergrowth, they came across something even stranger, a symbol carved deeply into the bark of a large oak tree. It was a complex design, made up of sharp angles and curves that didn't resemble any ordinary graffiti. The symbol seemed deliberate, as if meant to send a message. No one could say what it meant or who had carved it there. Experts were called in to analyze the carving. Some suggested it might be linked to a local legend or an old secret society rumored to exist in the area. Others thought it could be a warning or a sign used by someone involved in Rebecca's disappearance. Whatever its purpose, the symbol added a new layer of mystery. It made the forest feel even more foreboding, like a place where hidden dangers lurked just out of sight. While the discovery of the fabric and the symbol gave the investigation a fresh lead, it also raised more questions. How did Rebecca end up in that remote part of the woods? Did she go there willingly or was she forced? Was the symbol connected to her fate or was it something unrelated? The police began to suspect that Rebecca's disappearance might not have been random after all. Someone could have planned it carefully, choosing a location that was difficult to search and easy to hide in. As the search expanded deeper into the forest, more small clues started to appear. Footprints, broken branches, and discarded items. That might have belonged to Rebecca or her abductor. Each new piece of evidence was carefully documented, but none provided a clear picture. The woods were vast and confusing, filled with shadows and noises that made it hard to tell what was real and what was imagined. Meanwhile, the town watched anxiously as the investigation unfolded. The discovery of the fabric and the strange symbol gave some hope that Rebecca might still be found alive, but also reminded everyone how little they understood about what had happened. The forest had become a symbol itself, dark, mysterious, and full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. And, somewhere among the trees, the truth about Rebecca Middleton's disappearance was hiding, waiting for someone brave enough to find it. As the investigation into Rebecca Middleton's disappearance deepened, police began to uncover details about her life that no one in the quiet town had expected. Up until that point, Rebecca had been seen as a straightforward, well-liked young woman with no known enemies or troubles. But behind the friendly smile and quiet demeanor, she was living a more complicated life, one filled with secrets and hidden connections that slowly began to come to light. One of the first surprises came from phone records. The police had obtained Rebecca's cell phone and found dozens of calls to a man in town who few people knew much about. This man, in his late 30s, lived alone on the outskirts of town and had a past that raised eyebrows. He had recently moved back after years away, and neighbors described him as private, rarely socializing or engaging in community events. His background was shadowed by rumors. Some said he had been involved in trouble before, though nothing had been proven. This discovery made the investigators focus their attention on him. They learned that Rebecca and this man had been meeting secretly for several weeks before she vanished. Unlike Rebecca's usual social circle, these meetings took place late at night in quiet, secluded places. It was clear the relationship was not something she had shared with friends or family. The police began to wonder whether Rebecca had been in danger because of this connection, or if she was involved in something bigger than anyone had imagined. Neighbors who had once thought the man harmless now saw him in a different light. Some mentioned hearing strange noises or seeing unusual visitors near his home. Others described him as protective, even aggressive at times, but no one had reported anything concrete to the police. His role in Rebecca's disappearance remained unclear. Was he a protector, or was he somehow responsible for what had happened to her? As the investigators dug further, they discovered Rebecca had recently been researching topics that seemed unrelated to her normal interests. Her computer and notebooks revealed notes about secret meetings, coded messages, and references to a local group that was rumored to operate in the shadows of the town's peaceful appearance. This group was said to involve a network of people with hidden agendas and connections to crimes that had gone unsolved for years. Whether Rebecca had stumbled into something dangerous or had been seeking answers on her own became a critical question. Despite the growing complexity of the case, The police remained focused on uncovering the truth. They interviewed friends, family, and acquaintances, piecing together fragments of Rebecca's life that hadn't been visible before. Each new detail complicated the story, showing that Rebecca's disappearance was not just a random event, but part of a tangled web of secrets, lies, and possible betrayal. The town itself was changing. People who once felt safe now questioned who they could trust. The man with the mysterious past became a figure of suspicion and fear. The idea that Rebecca had been living a secret life shocked those who thought they knew her well. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that the answers would not come easily. Rebecca's disappearance was just the beginning of a deeper mystery, one that threatened to expose truths the town was not ready to face. Nearly 3 months after Rebecca Middleton vanished, the town was still holding on to hope, even as the chilling reality of her absence settled in. Then, a discovery by chance changed everything. Early one foggy morning, a local fisherman heading out to his usual spot near the outskirts of town spotted something unusual in the water. Floating just beneath the surface of the lake was a body. Authorities were called immediately, and when they arrived, the grim truth became undeniable. It was Rebecca. The news shocked the entire community. The peaceful town was suddenly plunged into a deeper, darker sorrow. Rebecca's family was devastated, and the police reopened the case with renewed urgency. But as the forensic experts began their examination, the circumstances surrounding her death raised disturbing questions. The body showed signs of a violent struggle. There were bruises and scratches, evidence that Rebecca had fought fiercely against someone. Yet strangely, there was no clear cause of death. No stab wounds, no gunshot, no obvious injuries that would explain how she had died. Further examination revealed something far more horrifying. The forensic team discovered that Rebecca had been buried alive, the air trapped in her lungs, the dirt found under her fingernails, and the positioning of the body all pointed to a slow and terrifying end. This revelation sent shockwaves through the town. The idea that someone had held Rebecca captive, forced her into a grave, and left her to die was almost too cruel to imagine. This discovery transformed the investigation from a missing person case into a murder inquiry. The police now knew they were dealing with a killer capable of extreme cruelty and calculated planning. The question of motive became more urgent than ever. Who could commit such a brutal act? Was this the same person Rebecca had been secretly meeting? Or was it someone else entirely? As the investigation unfolded, the evidence began to form a haunting picture. The location of the body, far from the town and hidden in the murky depths of the lake, suggested the killer wanted to keep Rebecca's death a secret. Yet small clues at the scene hinted at the killer's carelessness. A torn piece of clothing caught on a bush, faint tire tracks on the muddy shore, and a discarded phone battery that did not belong to Rebecca. These fragments slowly pointed the police toward a suspect, but nothing was yet conclusive. The town's residents were gripped by fear and anger. Parents kept their children close, and strangers were eyed with suspicion. The thought that such darkness could exist beneath the surface of their peaceful lives was terrifying. Rumors and theories spread quickly, but the truth was more complex than anyone expected. Rebecca's murder forced the community to confront a grim reality. Evil could hide in the most ordinary places, and sometimes those closest to us might be hiding terrible secrets. The discovery of her body was just the beginning of a terrifying unraveling that would expose hidden motives, betrayals, and a darkness that no one had seen coming. The search for justice had become a race against time to catch a killer whose cruelty was as chilling as it was unexpected. The breakthrough in the case of Rebecca Middleton came from an unlikely source: a forgotten security camera at a gas station on the edge of town. The camera had been overlooked during the initial investigation, but as the police revisited every possible lead, they uncovered footage from the night Rebecca disappeared. The grainy video showed a car speeding away from the area near the bookstore around the time Rebecca was last seen. The image was unclear, but after enhancing the footage with modern technology, the police were able to identify the vehicle and, more importantly, the driver. The driver was the man with the mysterious past, the same individual Rebecca had been secretly meeting in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. His involvement had always been suspected, but this footage placed him at the scene, making it impossible to deny. With the evidence mounting, the police brought him in for questioning. Under the pressure of the investigation, he finally confessed, but the reasons behind his actions were far darker and more twisted than anyone had imagined. He revealed a complex web of deceit and obsession. He had become dangerously fixated on Rebecca, convinced that she was involved in something bigger than anyone knew. His obsession grew into control and violence, leading him to kidnap her that night. But his confession also revealed secrets that shocked the town. Rebecca had uncovered information about a secret group operating in the area, a group involved in illegal activities and willing to use violence to protect their secrets. The man had warned her to stay silent, but when she refused, his obsession spiraled into a deadly act of desperation. The confession sent shockwaves through the community. People who once trusted their neighbors began to question everyone around them. The quiet man living on the outskirts was not just a suspect, he was a symbol of hidden dangers lurking beneath the town's calm surface. The police continued to investigate the secret group Rebecca had stumbled upon, uncovering more connections and criminal activities that explained why some people had wanted to silence her permanently. The town struggled to come to terms with the truth. The peaceful life they had known was shattered, replaced by suspicion and fear. The case revealed how easily darkness could hide behind ordinary faces and how fragile safety could be. Rebecca's story became a haunting reminder that evil can thrive in silence, and that sometimes the people we least expect are capable of the worst crimes. In the end, justice was served. The man was convicted of kidnapping and murder, bringing some closure to Rebecca's family and the community. But the scars left by the case would remain for years to come. The secrets uncovered changed the town forever, forcing everyone to face uncomfortable truths about trust, betrayal, and the shadows hiding in their midst. Rebecca Middleton's murder was more than a tragedy. It was a story of courage and darkness, intertwined, a chilling reminder of how even the quietest places can hide the darkest secrets. Her memory lives on, inspiring a community to be vigilant, to seek truth, and to never forget the price of silence.